Welcome to another episode of the Modern Father Podcast. I am one half of your host, Marcus, and the other half of my host, Denver's finest, the Denver Jokic of podcasting. Benji, how you doing?
Triple doubles all day. Hey, Jokic had a hell of a game yesterday. So did Anthony Davis. He had a hell of a game. I didn't realize he had dropped 40.
Yeah, they said that was the first time two centers have dropped over 30 points since the mid-90s. You know, back when I think it was Olajuwon and Shaquille O'Neal did it?
That makes sense. Yesterday was a fun game, so it was a cool series. A lot of people watching. I know a lot of Laker fans here, and then I work with like a lot of Nugget fans, so it's pretty interesting. I hear it from both sides. But
what team do you think travels the best out of the nation?
Out of every sport?
Any sport.
Any American sport?
Any American sport.
The Chicago Cubs.
You think so? Over the Cowboys?
Oh, the Cowboys are a good one. Cubs.
Or Yankees. I think the Yankees travel better than the Cubs. Just like slightly better.
Cubs, Yankees, Cowboys, for sure. They're out there. The Bulls travel well.
Bulls do travel well. That was the late game that we went to. Steelers,
yeah. Steelers travel. So, good for them.
Red Sox fans used to travel real well. Those guys used to, Red Sox used to travel pretty well. But yeah, man, how's your family? How's your daughter? Happy Mother's Day, by the way, to your wife. How was your Mother's Day?
Mother's Day was interesting. It feels like it was so long ago already. Mother's Day was cool. My wife is Mexican, so we have 2 Mother's Days. So May 10th is Mexican Mother's Day. And then the 14th was, I guess, American Mother's Day. So I did something twice. It's the first one. Nothing too crazy, man. I kept it very simple. We're very homey people, so we don't really... I think we do more gestures for gift giving instead of buying each other stuff. Every once in a while, we get into the more material things. But anyway, for Mexican Mother's Day, I got some flowers, and I ordered us takeout, which was Mexican food. Because it's Mexican Mother's Day. I was like, you gotta have Mexican food on Mexican Mother's Day, right? So I got
Irish
that.
Food.
Yeah, right. I was like, come on.
Chips.
Yeah, so I went to Acapulco's a couple blocks down, fire.
That place is fire.
Did that. So we kept your, flowers and tacos, pretty much. Can't go wrong with that. And then some hot Cheetos and... and Oreos double stuffed. You gotta have the snacks. And then Sunday, I gave her a card. I had my little message in there, so I saved the card for Sunday. I made brunch. Came out good. I got her some coffee from her favorite restaurant out here. And then for dinner, we ordered food again. And all she wanted to do was watch her shows, so we just kicked it, chill with the baby, Then I tried to do other things. I swept, tried to pick up more, fold the laundry and shit like that, just for she can kind of kick it, chill with the baby. So it was good. What'd you do?
Chores. I want to talk about chores for sure. What did I do? I gave long-term a card. And then we ordered from a restaurant that's kind of not across the street, but like about a couple miles away. It's called Hash a Go-Go. And first of all, I picked it up and it was like cold because I ended up getting gas like over at Costco. And then picked up the food and it was cold and it just was all bad, man. From there, everything's downhill. I don't want to put the business out in the streets, but it was just bad from there. It was just bad. And so after that, just try to make sure she was all right. And we had dinner. Where did we have dinner at? Well, I forgot what we had for dinner. dinner was super low key, but it was just a low key day. Just had her like rest and chill and lay back. But yeah, I mean, first Mother's Day probably wasn't too memorable for her, but at the same time, try to make it peaceful and restful as possible. Now, baby, how's your daughter? Is she sleeping through the night? Like, what's going on with her?
Yeah, she sleeps. She sleeps pretty well through the night. I mean, she'll be 4 months in 2 days. So
Mm-hmm.
on the 19th, she turns 4 months. Um, and she's sleeping pretty well. I mean, she goes to bed around 9:30. On a good day, she'll sleep to 9 a.m. On a bad day, she's up at 6 a.m. And sometimes when she's up at 6, if you just give her a pacifier, she'll knock back out. She'll kind of self-soothe, go to sleep. But sleeping is pretty good. Napping is getting a little bit more manageable. Really trying to get her to nap solo. So we've been working on getting her in the crib.
Mm-hmm.
She's lasted about 30 minutes, 40 minutes, up to an hour and a half. Not as consistent. Like maybe out of her 3, 4 naps in a day, one would be over there. But I have been able to manage to get her to fall asleep on the couch next to me. That's been very nice. Um, Tummy time, we've increased tummy time. I felt like she wasn't where she needed to be. Obviously, I don't know yet because her appointment is coming up, but I feel like I've been a little passive with her tummy time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we've been working on that a little bit more. And in just like the last week or two, that I've actually been really intentional with it, especially on days where it's me and her all day, and I'm doing it like every hour. She massive gains. I mean, she's holding her head up better. She feels more confident. She's not crying, and that was a big
Mm-hmm.
thing. She used to get nervous when her head drops. Um, so now she's like gaining the confidence to keep trying over and over. And I've changed my approach. Like I scaffolded her, started thinking like a psychologist, and I started like putting my hand under her, like under her belly, under her chest, and
Mm-hmm.
just like letting her know I'm right there. So when she falls, give her like a spot, right? Give her a little spot check to help her get up a little bit until she starts to push on her own, just so she can get over that fear. And now ever since doing that, she's taken off.
Right. My son, we've been being long term, especially like this is one of definitely long term's goals is to have him eat solid food. Because right now, like I'm over there making everything like beets, kale. I'm feeding this food like exotic, like vegetables and everything, and he's have good solid bowel movements. And then he had long term gave him some cheese, and so like he didn't poop for like pretty much the whole day. And me and long term were making food, and like we sat down to eat, and like we're like, all right, just he ate already. Let's have him bounce in the bouncer. So he's bouncing up and down in the bouncer, and all of a sudden you hear this loud scream, like ah, like. We're just like, oh, he's having fun. And you look down, man, like we have a pillow under his bouncer, and they're just like shit all over like the pillow, like everywhere. Like me and Long Term had a tag team, like just like getting him, like we got him upstairs and took off his diaper and like had to wipe his ass like vertically, and like it was, dude,
I saw
it
the
was so
picture.
gross. Yeah, oh
I
man,
saw a
it was
picture.
everywhere. It was everywhere. That guy exploded, and yeah, that was a little adventurous. But today I try to feed him some solids, and like he's not liking solid food, man. Like he just like, he doesn't have like the the mouth movement, and like he doesn't want to chew, and so he's just it was like he like held on to his food and he didn't want to spit it out or he didn't want to swallow it, so he just sat there and cried like for like forever. And I was like, oh buddy, man, I feel so bad for you. So the thing finally either dissolved in his mouth or either fell out of his mouth. I don't know, like one of the two. I think it probably fell out of his mouth a little bit. It was a couple beats. And yeah, I was like, all right, man, this is tough. This is tough. So it's been hard. It's been hard around here. But we've been going to the park and just navigating people. People at the park, man, are crazy, man. Like I met some cool people at the park, and then I met some people at the park. I'm just like, bro, y'all some crazy fools, man. It's like crazy, crazy ladies, crazy dudes. So just, man, watch out for the people at the park. But shout out to the people at the park, man, and the stay at home people at the park that I meet. Try to build community. But yeah, man, it's been pretty crazy over there. I want to talk to you about chores because I saw this YouTube short. It's by a YouTuber named Angry Man, and he's like a black dude in his mid 40s, I think, mid to late 40s, and he talked about chores. And one of his things he talked about chores was he was like, it's not masculine for you to be doing chores that aren't your responsibility. And the comment section kind of like lit up, like with like what are you talking about? Like, because like each relationship is different, and like what if this person works? Why should this person have to come home and do all the chores, and stuff like that? So I want to know your feeling about comments like that. Like, is it not is it emasculating to do chores?
No. I don't see, and so first things first is I don't see it as chores. Children have chores. I'm a grown ass man. I'm maintaining my living space. I want to have a nice home. I am very proud of I have a my crib is not big at all, but I'm very proud of how my place looks, like the design, the furniture, the layout, how everything is set up, the pictures we have around, all of that. So it's not a chore. It's me maintaining our living space, right? And my wife works full time. I work full time. Home ownership is full time. So we both have a job and a half. You know what I mean? And I do what I'm good at, what I know how to do. I know how to do the dishes. I would say I probably wash 90% of the dishes in our entirety of living together these last 7 years. Because she does all the cooking. So she does all the cooking. I have no issue cleaning up the kitchen. When it comes to like sweeping and mopping, it's the opposite. I've probably swept and mopped maybe 20% of the time. That's her jam. She takes on that. You know, I clean outside more than she does. You know, I do all the like the pulling of the weeds and shit like that, the gutters. I do all of that. It's not a big deal. I guess that would probably be seen more as the masculine chore if they wanna. But I mean, I have no problem cleaning windows. I mean, it is what it is. I hate the one thing I do hate doing is I hate laundry. I hate folding socks. But she likes the socks, so I'll get the laundry started and I'll do the shirts and the pants and she'll sit there and do the socks or like again. But I would say she does more of the laundry than I have. But I've done my fair share of loads. Not a big deal. If I'm home all day on a Saturday and she's working a 12 to 14 hour shift, the least I can do is, and I always do this, is at least make sure she comes home to a clean space. Organize shit, move things around. If I cook, just clean up. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with that too. Because, like, I'm tired of this argument about doing chores is emasculating stuff. I'm tired of this dumb argument. It's so stupid because nowadays both people work. It's not like back in the 50s and 60s. Hello, honey, I'm back home from my long day at work, and she's staying at home. Traditional models like that are very hard unless you're extremely rich. Nowadays with inflation, how much rent is costing, how much gas bills, everything's so high, groceries, everything's so high. So two incomes is kind of like the way, especially if you are a middle income earner and if you only make $50,000, of course, like you can't have that kind of traditional relationship. So you shouldn't be expecting people to come home and being like the house is clean when the other person is working just as hard as you are. So I think accepting those roles, like you said, like there's like a shared deviation of the roles. Like for a long term, that's all I ask her to do is just clean the litter box and then like help out with the laundry. I got put it away at least because I know I put it away all funky, and she hates that, and she always goes to redo it when I used to do it. So I just put loads in whenever I can put loads in, especially when the baby's asleep. I'll throw a load in, put it in the dryer, throw a load in, stuff like that. But for the most part, like I'm handling the bathrooms. I'm just like I'm doing the sweeping and mopping. I'm doing the dishes because I got time. I got well, technically I got time. I barely got time. So I try to carve out at least 30 minutes while that dude's napping to do all this stuff. Boom, 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 rush, and then go do my work. And then he wakes up, and then while he's playing, I'll do some other stuff. I'll clean up, tidy up some other wear. But luckily we have the Roombas. We have the electric Roombas that run upstairs and downstairs. So like that just alleviates a lot of the vacuuming or anything like that. So then the rest of the stuff is just going around and just Swiffering, and Swiffering like our bad spots, dusting little places, stuff like that. So it's not that hard. And then the backyard stuff, like I'll get to that like whenever I have like a Sunday or something. If I have to like go out there and do some leaves, rake, like you said, just get in the garage nice and clean. But yeah, most of the time, like I'm tired of that dumb argument though, man. People who make these stupid arguments, like gender roles are kind of, if you think about it, they're kind of dead. They're kind of dead. I mean, gender roles are not really a thing anymore. I mean, long term, she still cooks because she likes to cook, and that's like her thing to do. And I get a good meal every night, but like I'm not expecting her to like, hey, like you work like a 9-hour shift, where you're dealing with a bunch of garbage. Oh, I need you to start cleaning and stuff. Like I need you to do this, that. So like I think all that stuff is stupid and dead. I think we need to do a better job of just assigning roles in a relationship instead of just leaning on, oh, you're emasculated, oh, you're not masculine for doing these chores. It's stupid. People who say that are single. People, honestly, if you say it, you're talking that dumb shit, you're single.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is just play into your strengths.
Mm-hmm.
So, and what's reasonable, play into your strengths. Because there are things I do not like. I hate going grocery shopping.
Yeah, I won't do that.
I don't enjoy it. And my wife can sit there and like scroll. Excuse me. Mm-hmm. She can scroll through the store and take her sweet time. I can't. I'm not that type. I go there for like in the moment things, and I'm in and out, and I can go. Or if I'm by myself, I don't have an issue because I can just zip on through. But she likes to enjoy her time, so I don't even go with her. And I was like, just call me when you're out in the back, and I'll come help you with bags. Like, I'll grab the bags and you get the baby, and I'm good.
Yeah, I'm the same way. How about this? Would you, if you had a choice, would you rather go? Look at this. See this cat. Look at this thing, man. Look how big this cat is, man. This thing's a colossal cat right here. This thing eats well. Get out of here. Would you rather go shopping with your wife for 2 hours, or would you rather watch an Avatar movie that's almost 3.5 hours? Like, wait to complete while, but the thing is about the Avatar movie though, a crucial game is on that you could watch. Which one would you rather do?
I'd rather go grocery shopping. It's 2 hours. I'd rather do that. Yeah. I don't want to sit there and watch. I've heard good things about Avatar, but 3.5 hours is a true commitment.
It's a true commitment.
You're only up like 12 hours a day. I mean, so right there, that's a quarter of my day is gone.
Exactly.
That's shit I don't care about.
Right.
Bunch of
I was trying to tell long term.
Motherfuckers walking around.
I was like, this movie is way too long. Like, as much as like I would love to see it, but like you're right. It's such an investment, and a lot of my time's already spent with the young man, and then to have to turn around and to go watch like a 3.5 hour movie. I'd rather be editing a video. I'd rather be setting up something for my job. Like,
I'm a millennial, bro. I'm really into instant gratification as well. So 3.5 hours, like I have to really want to see it, and I didn't watch the first Avatar, so I'm not gonna sit through the second one because now I have to watch the first one. So that's now I'm 8 hours invested to some shit I don't care about. Or I could have just did a 2 hour grocery shopping and got some donuts from King Supers in the process. I'm good.
brutal. What do they call King Supers out here? Smiths. It's Smiths out here. We call it Smiths. I was like, Smiths? Like, what the hell is this? Uh, John Morant, once again, pulled out another blicky on Instagram Live. And the thing is, man, his homie tried to be like, oh, dude, what are you doing? Like, he tried, he tried his best
Yeah, he tried to save him.
protect him. He tried to save him. What do you think? What do you think about John Morant?
I think he's just immature, man. Like, yeah, you're not doing anything wrong. You're not, I get it. You're not doing anything wrong. But you have to understand, like, the NBA's social justice influence. And they're really big on, like, they're really big on the political things that go on, right? Like, someone's always having a shirt, Black Lives Matter, things of that nature. So you have a Black Lives Matter, like, strong backing, and you got a black dude listening to a black artist rapping about killing black people. Like, that's literally what you're listening to, man. And then you got millions of kids who are looking at you as a role model, and that is not the image they want to be associated with, because not everyone understands that, like, that side of it, right? Because all they're getting is a glimpse. So unfortunately for you, your position in life as an NBA superstar comes with a lot of responsibility of kind of being a poster child for kids who look like you or young adults who look like you. Because a lot of people don't run into black folks,
No, they don't.
and their ideologies on black folks comes from what they see on the news
And media.
and media. So they see your ass up there dancing around, listening to NBA YoungBoy, flashing a gun, and you making $100 million from white corporations. That doesn't match, bro. Like, I'm sorry. Like, you may not think that's fair, but like, I was listening to Charles Barkley earlier, and he's like, if you don't think it's fair and you don't want to do with it, like, give the money back. Like, if you want to live that lifestyle, but you have to understand, we are privileged now. We're privileged to dribble a basketball, play a game that we love, and get paid a lot of money for it. And there's a lot of hardworking people who would love to be in your situation, who work 9 to 5s and make $25,000 a year, busting their ass every day. And you out here acting like a child with grown man responsibilities. Like, you can't do that. So
Can't.
you just can't do it. You can't do it. It's just a bad look. And it's just too much that comes with that, man. Like, especially the NBA, bro. They're always in the political game. There's always something. And all these folks are, like, probably mostly Democrat, right? You're all anti-gun, and you're over here flashing a gun around. Like, you're going against the messaging.
Yeah. How many games would you give him if you were Adam Silver?
Enough to where he's not eligible for all pro
All NBA.
or all NBA, whatever that is. So I think it's like, I think you got to pay 62 now.
62? Yeah.
So 20 games, I'm going to bench you 21 games. Now I'm going to now I can hit your pockets. You got enough, now you can help your team. 60 games, you can have a great season. You can come 60 games in, or play 60 games, have ridiculous numbers, go on a crazy run with your team, and be a team player. But as an individual, I have an opportunity to make you really think about this moving forward.
Right. Man, John Morant to me is like he's what we just saw was a microcosm of black culture. That's how John Morant is acting, is how you get women, how you you get street cred, how you are perceived as a Damu in the hood by doing that and by acting like that. You don't get it by being a psychologist. You don't get it by being like a Carlton. You don't get it by being a engineer or I met a dude. I do like Zamboni rides for the Vegas Golden Knights, and I met a guy. He's recently graduated as a engineer, black dude, super chill. He's just in his 30s. You could tell like he's like clean cut. Well, if he were to go to the black community, he would get shunned. They would be like, oh, like he's square, he's like this, that. And that's what's wrong with the black community today, is that everything that is wrong is right. Like if you're like a wire and you're over there like a corner boy, you're going to get more love than a dude that's buttoned up that went to a 4-year college and they got a degree. So John Morant needs to know that, bro, you didn't grow up like that, for one thing. The second thing is, like, better. They even capitulate like you can't go around flashing guns. You had a meeting with Adam Silver about this, saying that you can't do this. So I think he deserves, like you say, I would say 20-25 games. But I think we also need to remember that, I think, like, I was watching First Take, and JJ Redick said this, that like there are people out there that push this, like the one of the senators who had like his whole family with like guns, in a picture, and there's like other people that especially in politics, that tote weapons and are all about the Second Amendment rights. I mean, that's cool, but you are part of a billion-dollar corporation, and you represent the corporation, like you said, you represent Nike, Gatorade, all the other local Memphis spots that you do. So they're all looking at you like, man, like, hey, we want something that represents us, and this kind of culture doesn't represent you. And also his boys, I think he needs to be like, I think Jay-Z kind of made this turn. Remember when Jay-Z used to hang out with Memphis Bleak and Freeway, Beanie Siegel, all of his rock crew, like Dame Dash? Those guys are gone. The guys are gone. And now he hangs out with more people that are hedge fund managers. You are who you associate with. And if you're going to associate yourself with people of that ilk, then you're going to get those kind of ramifications. You're going to get guys that bring you down. And I think that's what's wrong with our culture today, is that we don't want to hang out with people that are in, a Fortune 500 company. We don't want to hang out with those people that have a small business, truck drivers, electricians, more blue collar people who are on the straight and the narrow, because it's not cool. It's not, oh man, like, you don't get any street cred from that. Like, oh, you don't get any bitches because you're over here got a 9-to-5. That kind of stuff, we need to eradicate that from our community.
Man, I ain't trying to hang out with them lame ass. No, I just play.
Dude, I was one of those lame asses, man.
Just play.
I used to try to go around. I still am lame. Exactly right. I am super lame. I used to hang out with a lot of definitely like a lot of people in the Murphy Canyon area, if you know down in San Diego, and there were military people, but we would also get people busting down from Southeast, and they used to play them games, and I was never about that or a part of that. And yeah, some guys would be like, man, you's a lame ass little nigga, you little light skin, like you did this, that. I used to get it all the time, and especially like from black women, and long term never believed me. I was like long term, like there's a reason why I mostly dated Hispanics, Asians. Like if I did date black, it'd be like light skinned, and I did some darker skinned ladies. But the other ones would call me lame. They're like, no, you ain't hood enough, you ain't street enough. Like, what you gonna do for me? Like, stuff like that. But even though like I definitely, like I said, I can own a room. I can have credibility, but not the kind of credibility that they're looking for. And that's just a shame, man. That's a shame. And that's why a lot of people end up dating out. That's why a lot of us are like, man, hey, man, I'd rather take this snow bunny right here. This white girl.
Stupid.
Yeah, I'm serious. I really think this white girl is gonna appreciate me, and want to be a part of her life. This Latina right here is gonna want me to be in her life. This Asian mommy is gonna want to let me be in her life. It's crazy. It's so crazy. Like we have it all twisted. I can go on and on and on about my community, and we see it with our kids. You probably see it with those little kids out there, and just how they have to act to try to be cool, and it's like, oh man, I ain't cool if they can't even talk about anime. They can't even talk about science fair projects. They can't talk about that stuff unless they're considered lame, dorks, squares, and that's just backwards, man. Because those guys are gonna make way more money than y'all block boys and not take stupid penitentiary chances and do dumbass things for clout and get on Instagram and do dumb stuff. I can go on this about this all day.
I
All
could
damn
tell,
day.
yeah,
Yeah, man.
emotional.
It's stupid. It's stupid. It's
He's
goofy.
like,
The whole thing is goofy. And then we talk about, black culture is supposed to be spirited, but we don't sell. Black culture is artistic. Black culture is beautiful. Black culture is supposed to be what it is. But then we have like all these stereotypes that people see because they were watching Snowfall on The Wire, and they're watching all this bullshit like propaganda and media that we have to go out and power, that we have to go out and run the streets. And it's like, man, like why can't we watch? I don't know, man. Like,
you know why?
why?
Because ain't no such thing as halfway critics.
All right, Mobb Deep. That's another thing. People want to be like, I love Mobb Deep. I love their music, that murder music. But I live nothing like that life. And it's like, oh, baby, you put on that tape. You're like, yeah, girl, what you know about that David Banner? What you know about that, Wu-Tang Clan? And it's like, I'm not living that life at all, man. I'm not living 36 Chambers. I love that stuff. All right. Do you have anything more to say about that? Because I went on a long...
No, I'm good. I think you used enough tape already. We're good.
I did. 20, like you said, man, I'm around 21, 22 games, like, max. Don't give him too much because, man, but just hit him his pockets. All of his endorsement deals, get rid of him. So, you sent me an article the other day, or a Instagram post. It said, more wives out-earn their husbands and their marriage lasts longer. How do you feel about that?
I feel great. I always joke with my wife about her becoming a doctor so I could be a stay-at-home daddy. And I just think the stigma again of just, if we talk about like how we were talking about chores and all that earlier, it feeds into this, right? Where I think more men are becoming more comfortable and understanding that they can help around the house and still be seen as a useful partner, and more women are getting into the workforce. And it's okay, like, hey, you making more money than me? If you're cool with it, I'm cool with it. I mean, my wife made more money than me until like the last year. I mean, she has, and I had a good career. I just work in public ed, and I had to work my way up into different positions. And she's a nurse. She's an RN, right? She's her BS, her bachelor's in nursing. And she has like, I don't know, 10 years experience already. She's doing her thing. So for a minute, she was making more money than me. And I have no issue with it at all. I was like, that's cool. And now we're at the point where we're basically making the same income. And it's just even better. But more women are educated. More women are getting higher degrees. And it makes sense. I absolutely love it.
What would you say about a single woman who doesn't want to date down, she's making about 90 to 110K, and she's like, well, I'm not going to date down. Like, there was this, I don't know if you've seen that posting about Ebony K. Williams, and she's like, she was asked, like, would you ever date a bus driver? And she said, if he owns the bus. Like, there's a lot of women out there that are like that nowadays, and that are single.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, the shelter has a bunch of kitties that need to get adopted. I mean, that's totally honest. I mean, it's shocking how little people make in America. Like, I think the average is like 50 G's. You know what I mean?
For men, I think for black men it's like 33. I think for men overall it's like 47, 40,
And
45, something like that.
so think about that. Like you are the numbers are not in your favor
Hmm.
if that's a big deal for you. So if you're looking for high income men outside of your income, you need to be in high income outings. You need to have a high income network, or you're never going to meet them. You know what I mean? Like there's no opportunity for you to meet them. So you have to have a network, and that's probably through work, and with the understanding that the higher your degree, the harder it is to find a mate
Yeah.
for women. Not
Yeah.
necessarily men, but for women, the higher the degree, the harder it is for them to find a mate. They become more picky. Then you're not as educated, and then there's men who are intimidated by your intellectual abilities.
Would you say intimidated or more
Intimidated.
of I wouldn't say intimidated.
I would say
I think
intimidated and out of your league because
I wouldn't say
when you are messing with a woman who is deep, who is truly educated and has and can have conversation and is into, you got to think about that, right? The higher your education, the more likely you are into like hobbies like reading. You're up to date with politics. You're up to date with other social events going on, and usually folks want to talk about those. If you don't have
there's
nothing,
plenty of blue collar people like that are like
there
that though.
are, but
Yeah.
there's more common in the higher the education for the person. It's more common. I'm not saying there's not, but it's more common for a person to have people with higher education be more invested into social events that are going on. And I think the
That word
level
intimidation, man, that got me, bro. That got me good.
they're
Go
intimidated.
ahead, go
I
ahead.
mean,
I
folks,
no.
yeah, man, there are people out there who there are men out there who if this woman is talking circles around you, you are intimidated. You're there's I'm telling you intimidation because women who are educated they know what's up. They have an understanding. They can hold conversations. They know they can make their own money. They know a lot of things about themselves that they've learned through their experience of gaining this education. There's a lot that you learn about yourself just by going through that process. Same for folks who joined the military. Same for folks like people who actually put themselves in a different situation. You learn a lot, man. And dudes get intimidated, man, who don't have shit. And I'm not saying all, but there's definitely a percentage of men who do not look to talk to women who are far more educated than them because they are intimidated.
I wouldn't say I wouldn't use the word intimidated. I would use the word of more like if I'm a blue collar guy and I make 60 $70,000 a year, why would I want to deal with something like that? That's
With
what I would
what?
say. With if somebody's intimidating, if you're using that word like if somebody's intimidating, right? That means they're hard to handle, right? So like
No,
if
intimidate.
yeah,
No,
I
you
mean
people.
yeah,
That's
because
your.
like okay, no, definitely because if you think about it this way, right? Like if somebody's sitting there and they're talking about stocks and politics and talking about things that you maybe might not want to like I don't know anything about this. That's a preference. So that means that person doesn't want to deal with that. But then if that person is like hey like you know I've been single for this many years. I wonder why you've been single for this many years. Like you are probably extremely uppity. You're probably what do they call it when you like want a bunch of lavish stuff? They have a term for it.
Materialistic.
Well, yeah, man, materialistic, but they have another word for it. I'm looking for another word. Oh my gosh, I'll get to that word. But yeah, you are materialistic, and I don't think a lot of guys who are single would want to deal with a woman that's like that. So, I mean, intimidated is not the
I
word.
think
I
you're
just think
wrong
that
about
like
that one.
no, because like I mean, like you think about it this way, right? You're gonna settle down and have kids with a woman that is like that. Now, if that woman does not have the time to do that, or like say for instance she doesn't fit your model of like what a mother really is. Why a guy who makes 70K would rather take a woman who's over at like McDonald's or Burger King who makes like 17, $18 an hour and put up with her stuff, and instead of putting up with that higher earning woman. I don't think it's intimidation. It's just like what I just think it's the level of threshold that a male can deal with. I talk to plenty of dudes that are out there that are on the sports circuit, and I'm not saying this too because my long term, she's got a master's degree, teacher's license, I think an administration license. So she's got like all kinds of stuff like that. But at the same time, she still has other feminine aspects to make her, amazing person. Like she's great to talk to. She represents the family extremely well. And she's somebody that like I genuinely like to be around. Now, on the other hand, if I'm dealing with, say, for instance, I'm feeling like a veterinarian doctor, and say, for instance, she likes to do all the things, like to do the reading and stuff like that. But is she somebody that you really want to be around? Is she
Why
somebody?
not? That's an individual
Is she somebody
basis.
that she could talk to? Is she somebody? And that's why a lot of those
But you,
higher earning ladies, they focus just solely on their job and they end up staying single, is because they're hardcore in their job. And like, yeah, like you did your thing, but at the same time, you are still like, what value are you going to add to that dude? Like, what value can you add to that dude that's making 60, 70,000
her
dollars? Like,
presence, her understanding. I mean, I think you're looking at this a little wrong, to be totally honest with you. And I'm
okay,
not getting your point
okay,
because you're addressing just because you have a higher education, you're a snotty person, or you're uppity and you are materialistic and I'm not thinking of it like that at all. I'm thinking of it as the higher educated a woman is, or even a man, the more other things start to matter, like the level of conversation. And if, as a woman, if she's trying to have a conversation with you and you are not intellectually capable of having this conversation because you were not invested in your education, maybe you're a truck driver. Truck drivers make great money. Doesn't mean you have a lot to talk about outside of trucking. You're less likely to have, just because of think of like the quality of life. Like I know some truck drivers and they they have jobs and they treat it like a job. Most women and I would say most people who have degrees have careers that are all day every day. Like I feel like I'm never off the clock. My friends who make good money as truck drivers who make six figures, it's a job. They're in and out and it's over with. They can leave it behind. When you get into like more white collar positions, there is no leaving behind. It's something that continues to build and build and build. There's no end point. My friends that are truckers, they go from point A to point B and they get their money. I don't have my point for me. Just thinking of my job career, my point A to B takes an entire school year to get to. That's when I'm able to stop. It's a different level of conversations come from those type of experiences when you're still doing a job compared to a career. And I
okay.
think that can be an issue.
I hear that. So I want you to answer this question for me. Who's more likely to get involved in a longer term relationship? A dude in the 40s with a master's degree in engineering, or a woman in her 30s with a doctorate's degree in education? Who's more likely to get into a longer term relationship?
The man,
Why?
because men don't care about intellect, like they don't, that men have focused more on appearance than any other feature that a woman has to offer. Where a woman looks for, I would say a woman is more on connection first. Looks being huge, different attraction of intellectual capabilities. Men date for looks more often than not.
So that just proves my argument right there. Is because that guy would just be like, hey, as long as like you come in with some looks and you have some type of aptitude to you, I'm gonna date you. But while the woman is looking for you to have status, looks, a career, that you have community status. Not only that, and then is he over 6 foot? Is he over? Is he? Does he have a
But
beard?
that
Does
but
is
that
he?
doesn't have
Is
to
he?
do with education level.
But it definitely does because the higher the education, the more likely that, like you said earlier, you're not going to find somebody that's going to be on your level that's going to tick all your boxes, and that's why a lot of women who have those kind of degree standards, they end up, it's harder for them to find a mate than it is for a dude that has that same
bro.
status, and that sucks for a lot of those women. That definitely sucks because
I'm,
like they
I'm
end up single.
I'm gonna tell you the reason why the women are single is because most men are intimidated to be with a woman
No, that's
who
not.
listen,
That's
who make more money than them. So if this woman is highly educated, deep into her career in her 30s, and she's making six figures, the likelihood of this woman is out of the league of 85, 90% of men who wouldn't even approach her because they can't even take care of themselves. And a lot of men can't even fathom being in a relationship with a woman that makes more money than them because they're going to attach their income to their masculinity. And more men think that way than the way that I would say myself, and I'm only going to speak about myself because I don't want to speak for other people, think. Because I'm more modern, fast forward thinking. Most men are not like that. That is why there's machismo culture. Your woman's not going to make more money than you. That is going to demasculate you. Your family's going to make fun of you. You were raised to be the man of the house, and you have to pay the bills, and you have to do this. And that's for most cultures are like that. So the idea of you dating a woman who makes more money than you, who has more experience than you, has more education than you, is taboo. That's why it ain't gonna happen. It goes both ways.
so. Would you say that she's not really out of your league? She's just out of your price range.
She's out of your comfortability because most men can't fathom their woman making significantly more money than them and them having to adapt to another role. Because if not, your girls make out earning you by a significant amount, you need to step up somewhere else. And like we talked about earlier, most dudes are not trying to really sit here and clean the crib. They're not even taking care of their kids nowadays. So you're not even doing those things, and you think that like you're gonna be able to pull this female. Like it doesn't work that way. It's never gonna work that way. It's both sides.
We can get into the taking care of your kids thing another day because I think that's more of what stripping a lot of adults of parental rights through the family court system. But that's like another story. I just don't think dudes are that intimidated. I just think dudes don't want to deal with it, and also I think that a lot of women don't want to deal with dudes that aren't on their level. Like I just don't think that they're just like, hey, like it's cool that you have a plumbing business and like you make 80K a year, or it's cool that you have a cleaning company and then you work like you get 110. It's cool that you're a project manager, but like if that person wants to find somebody that's either higher than them, then it's just going to be harder because they're in the top like 1%, top 5%. And I think that's just the case about it. I just think that they don't want to. I just think that it's easier for a guy to date down than it is for a woman to date down.
It is because we look for different things. We look for
Right,
looks. I want to
right,
have the flyest female around. I don't care
right.
what she do, right? Dudes be out here working Wall Street and their girl works at Walgreens, but she's a certified dime,
Or
fine as
OnlyFans.
hell. She's beautiful, top beauty of, Miss America looking. And because of that's what a lot of men would go for that. I don't care if you didn't go to school. And there are women who don't care either, but they care more about that income.
Right. Just the word intimidation. I don't know, man. I can't use that word. I don't think a lot of dudes are intimidated. I think just a lot of dudes
Y'all
just
motherfuckers out
don't
there
want to pay.
scary, and if you
Just
think
they
you're not scary,
nah
leave a
nah
comment because I'm
nah.
calling you out. Y'all are
I'm
scary, bro. Y'all don't want to do other
uh
things. Oh
uh
my girl makes more money than
uh
me, and
uh.
just shut up, shut up. Go pick up a mop, motherfucker. Play with
I'm
me.
on I'm on your wave because um, yeah, long term makes more money than me. She has for the past like 4 years since I was doing the bar slash school thing. But yeah, I mean, hey, as long as we're a tight unit, that's what I believe in. But yeah, a lot of dudes. I just think a lot of dudes. We're done. I'm circling back and everything. How do you feel? That's a good debate, by the way. How do you feel about childcare today in this day and age?
I'm very nervous. I'm nervous because I know there's just a shortage in childcare providers in
Mhm.
general. So teaching anything with child teachers get upset when I say child care providers, but that ensuring safety is a part of our job. So that's
Mhm.
child care to me. There's just such a shortage. Like anyone can get a job. Like people are just so short-handed that anyone can get a job. And so that tells me I'm paying premium prices for less than stellar services. I mean,
Mhm.
full-time daycare is anywhere between 1,800 and 2,300 a month here in Colorado,
Easy,
in
easy.
Denver
Same here in Vegas.
specifically.
Hmm.
That's very expensive. So for that, like, I better, I better be picking up Little Einstein
That's right.
because in one calendar year, I've given you $24,000. She better be moonwalking and writing in cursive by her first birthday.
Hmm.
Like I don't want steps. I want her moonwalking by age 1. If I'm paying 2 grand a month,
Backflips.
yeah, 2 grand a month. Come on, man, that's crazy. My mortgage is not even 2 grand a month.
Right.
$24,000 a year. That's college tuition to feed her formula, burp her, and make sure she doesn't fall and crack her head. Like really break it down, man. Like I don't think it's not like I'm looking at like super Montessori schools where they're gonna like look at telescopes and shit. These kids are eating Play-Doh and fucking pushing each other over and getting foot and mouth syndrome, whatever that shit's called.
And foot mouth. That shit is crazy.
You know what I
That shit
mean?
is so
Like,
nuts.
come
That shit
on,
is so
man.
nuts.
Like I can't afford like those really bougie places. I mean, $1,800 plain Jane. That's still a lot of money, man. So I'm very concerned about that because I'm about to step into that world very soon. I've been able to kind of hold off for now. But given my line of work and my wife being at work full time, I will be looking into that option. I'm preferring more of a one-to-one nanny type of situation
Yes. Yeah.
for now. But that's hard too because I don't have family here, so I am putting my trust into an adult that I don't have a prior relationship with to take care of my most prized piece of my life, you know? So there's a lot of vetting that needs to happen. So I will be
Right.
having some questions, getting a feel for it, doing like a play run to see how my daughter responds to different people because I don't want to be rude, but I don't want to like don't give me a reason I have to fuck you up. Because like I said, that's my most prized, precious part of my life. Don't make me, don't make me do what I don't want to do.
Right. It's just so much stuff you subject your kid to send to daycare. I mean, like, shout out to all the parents who have to send their kids to daycare. But at the same time, I'm thinking about, like, you know, abuse, like, whether it be, like, neglect or, like, say, for instance, like, you're letting my kid, like, cry in a crib for, like, more than, like, 30, 40 minutes kind of things, like, I mean, there's really bad ones, but then there's some good ones that work there. But then I also hate the fact that there's so much turnover at daycares. Like, Like
Yeah.
3 weeks, you'll have like one lady who's been like amazing. She knows your name, she knows like what your kid likes, and then like you come back and you're like, man, like, dude, what happened to Sarah? Like what happened to Rosa? Like where's she at? And like, oh, she left. She went for a better job because she's getting paid more over here. So it's like, damn, man. And you're with somebody who doesn't even know your name. It's like, did you ask for my name when I picked her up? Kind of stuff. Like it's just some scary moments that can happen at daycare. And you ain't lying about like the diseases. You're not lying about like just the level of care that you get. And also too, I just feel more comfortable me raising my own kid. I think we as Americans have gotten to the point of like, hey, like you guys are taxable, and we want both the parents out of the house, and we don't want anybody. Families don't raise kids no more, and families are kind of dead. And the reason, and like the way they're promoting like single parenting now as like a great, absolute, amazing thing. To me, it's just sad because it seems like the nuclear family is not there anymore. So like now, like you don't have like my dad. I know my dad just doesn't want to even take care of my kid like that because I don't blame him. He's retired and everything. And my kid's like hard to do, but like it's so hard for even families to take care of kids now. And now they're having these like pods. These like cause like ever since the pandemic, they have these small little network pods. Well, they'll have like a teacher come in and teach, and then they'll have like somebody like a PE coach come in and like get them running around, and then they'll have another teacher come in and teach in a revolving door, and all the parents will pay money for that. And then like 1 week they'll be at this house, 1 week they'll be at the other person's house, and like I wouldn't mind leaning towards like things like that. And then you ain't lying about also a nanny. Just like even like a part-time nanny, somebody just coming in, who you're vetted and that's gonna take care of your kids and do it at your own house. You can just like monitor the situation, because man, right now it's so hard right now to find great, dependable, in your best interest of your childcare.
Yeah. I mean, the reason why I'm leaning more towards a nanny is because, I mean, for the price, like for one. So if I'm gonna end up paying, somewhere between 1,800 and 2,300 for that, we can get a nanny that supports when just my wife has to work. So she's a nurse, so she's working 3 days a week. I'd rather spend that money 3 days a week to have her have intimate care, right? For while she's like really, like I said, all like we really need to do is feed her, make sure she burps, tummy time for a little while. Like she's still really small. She doesn't need to socialize with other babies yet. I know, and just transition her into that, because there is value in going to school at a young age and being able to transition into learning how to socialize. But she doesn't need that yet. She needs full, dedicated support. So that's my reasoning. But I used to work at a ECE center.
Oh yeah.
I worked at the Christopher House in Chicago, out in Uptown. And it was dope. I mean, they took 6-week-old kids from 6 weeks moving forward. It's for low-income families. I actually was a Christopher House kid when I was a shorty, so to be able to go back was pretty cool. But they did a great job. I mean, but like I said, as most of the time is like you're paying all this money for somebody to just carry your baby all day.
Yeah, that's it.
Like it's just like you put it in perspective to like the price of college. There are people getting degrees for $24,000 a year.
Yep.
And I'm literally paying $24,000 if you send your kid and you have to pay for a full-time school. And within that first year, you're paying $24,000 in a year to have your baby carried and fed, and very basic things that I would prefer to do if I could. It just sucks. Like it's just so expensive, man.
It is.
It's crazy. Like I said, more than a mortgage, it's the same price as college. It just doesn't make sense to me, and it sucks that we're in a society like this. And if you are a low-income family, please make sure that you are checking into your resources, because my parents, my family, this was a non-for-profit. They paid like $1 a month for A1 quality childcare from a bunch of dope-ass people that I worked with. And like when you have these non-for-profits, they have all these regulations they have to be able to hit in order to sustain their grants in order to sustain their ranking as far as, because the ranking means a lot. And I forgot what the scale system was, but it was like, we were like a 5-star place, basically. And we earned this resignation by hitting all these parameters, right? And teaching our kids specific things. And it was really dope because it was Reggio inspired ECE center, and I learned a lot there. But that was cool. So if you are not making a lot of money and you receive government assistance, you need to make sure you're looking into Head Start and putting your kid in there as soon as you can. I was a Head Start kid. I went into preschool at 3 years old, and I went to Mary Crane, and it was a great experience. And my sister went to Mary Crane when she was little. Dope, right in the middle of the projects on the north side. We had a great time. We learned a lot. We were school ready. We were kindergarten ready. Like, there are some good ones out there. You just have to do your research, and if you make solid money, you got to pay that bill.
Yes, you do. Like I used to work at one of the creme de la cremes, and the one out in Denver where a lot of the football players used to send their kids out there. So I had taken care of some football player kids, and I was the PE coach over there. And you want to talk about tuition, man? You think tuition over there was like almost close to like 3 racks. It's 3 bands, and like, I'm like, God, we're paying 3 bands for this. And it was cool because they had like a little indoor sliding, like, not indoor, but it was like outdoor pool area where we had a slide and everything. It was pretty dope. And then like, I was a PE coach, so then like, there would be a class every 30 minutes that I would get, like, from 2-year-olds all the way up to kindergarten. So like, it was a pretty dope school. That's what you pay for when you got the money. But, if you don't have the money, like you said, tap in. And then also tap into your Boys and Girls Club if you have kids that are, about, first, second grade and up. Tap into your Boys and Girls Clubs around there. Tap into your YMCAs. Tap into those places because then they'll give you some good rates on good childcare for older kids also. And so while you're looking for childcare, is there anything else that you should be doing? Because I know you get sweaty by sitting on that chair. Any advice that you would have for parents?
Oh yeah. So on a day like today where you have swamp ass, you want to make sure that you have filled the swamp for the day. So you only have to do this once. Go to the toilet, sit down, see if anything else comes out. Dry that swamp up, turn the water on. Don't even let it get warm today because you just got to get it. You're already warm, so it doesn't need to be warm. You need to go in there cold, jump in, spread them, and wipe and wash that funky ass.
Preferably with a wash rag or a loofah in your cold shower. Those cold showers are brutal, man. I used to take those.
Yeah, no hot water with swamp ass. It just makes it more swampy. That doesn't make sense.
Right. Especially if you live in Florida and you live in those high humidity spots.
Oh, yeah.
That's brutal. Yeah, it's brutal. So, yeah, wash that ass. Take care of that. And with also a great bar of soap. Thanks again, guys, for listening to another episode of the Modern Father Podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe. Comment down below if you think our arguments are crazy, especially when it came to higher earning ladies in a relationship and marriage. And then also make sure that you do listen to us anywhere where you get your podcast. And thanks again for watching or listening. Peace.
Good night, intimidated men.